Hello, this is Dana Arcuri from danaarcuri.com, author, speaker, survivor, and soon-to-be certified trauma recovery coach. I'm just finishing up the last requirements to get fully certified as a certified trauma recovery coach. What a journey and adventure this year has been for me, and I'm so excited. I'm soon to be launching my trauma recovery coaching business starting in September 2021. So I'm absolutely thrilled that things are just unfolding at the right time for such a purpose as this, to be there and offer safe space for those who are dealing with various forms of abuse and trauma. And so thank you for joining me today. Hit the subscribe button if you are new to my YouTube channel. And let's start this new topic. And it's something that I've really noticed. It's something I've become aware of, especially over the past few years. And so today I'm going to chat about toxic people who avoid responsibility for their abusive actions. And so there is a common thread. And as I write my 6th book, which is called Soul Rescue, and it's about how to break free of narcissistic abuse and very, very traumatizing relationships, how to heal your trauma, and so much credible educational content involved in this self-help book, I have noticed a common theme. So as I'm typing and as I'm writing, and there's just words pouring forth from me. And I am so appreciative of this acceleration in my writing. But what I've noticed is a common theme between toxic people, such as the narcissist, the flying monkeys, sociopaths, etc., is that they avoid all responsibility for their words, actions, and behaviors. So I think that when we really take a deep dive into psychology, especially with people who have been extremely vile, malicious, spiteful, demonic, and habitually hurtful towards us, that we could see that they lack and they are incapable of taking responsibility for their own lives. And so oftentimes when we look at, who is this narcissist and who are the flying monkeys who are doing the dirty work and who are these sociopaths who are stalking us, we start really seeing these signs, and they have patterns, and it's habitual. So we can understand, number one, these people are psychologically not in a good place. They are mentally unstable. They are oftentimes delusional. They live in denial, and they do lack wisdom. So they don't have discernment. They don't have understanding. They don't want to understand why they do what they do. Think about it. People who have a sound mind, people who are mentally stable, people who are compassionate and empathic, they want to know what they're doing. They have this little thing within them, and it's their conscious reality in which they're very, very aware of their words and their actions. And there are times where maybe they make a mistake. Hey, none of us are perfect. We might trip up. We might accidentally, on a day when maybe we're feeling extra stressful, maybe we had insomnia and we didn't have a good night's sleep, and we might say something that later we can regret. But we're the first to say, I am sorry. We're the first to say, please accept my apology. We're the first to step up to the plate, own up to what we said or did that may have harmed another person, and it was not intentional. Like I said, oftentimes when someone is under stress, or if they're ill, if they're not feeling well, and let's remember, people who do have compounded trauma, they have a lot of trauma responses. So perhaps they were triggered by the narcissist who intentionally baited and provoked them. And so then this person, the trauma survivor, may have said something like, I think you're the most hateful, bitter person on earth, and I want nothing to do with you, and I'm not going to be in a relationship with you anymore. Now, we can understand they're speaking their truth. They might own up to it. Typically, most people who are empathic people and highly sensitive people and those who have a sound mind, we own our truth. We stand in what we did right and what we did wrong because we're mature adults. But when we're dealing with people who are sociopathic, people who are narcissistic, and the flying monkeys, now we're going to a whole new level. And the level isn't up high, the level is low. They stoop so low that when we think they reach their lowest, dirtiest, foulest point, they remind us again and again, oh no, they're going to step even lower. They're basically digging their own graves. So we know this, we understand this, we comprehend it, and we could clearly see that we are dealing with someone who just will not be responsible. And so I consider these type of people who lack responsibility, emotionally immature. They are like toddlers. They have a little 2-year-old temper tantrum and a little hissy fit. And they have a meltdown and, oh, woe is me. Oh, woe is me. And then they have their big, fat, pity party. And what happens is the flying monkeys run to their rescue. Oh, you poor, poor person. Oh, look what they did to you. And what happens is the person who is the abuser suddenly becomes the hero. And the person who's the scapegoat or the black sheep of the family somehow becomes the bad guy. And this is so common. Have you experienced this? I know I have. Now let's move on. So let's talk about these people who refuse to take accountability for their lives. So they will deflect when you're talking to them. And let's just say that you end up having either a phone call or an email message to them, or maybe you texted them and you confronted them about how much they hurt you. Maybe you literally spelled out exactly what they did to you. So you mentioned the gaslighting and the manipulation and how much they have psychologically abused you. What will happen is the narc, sociopath, and the flying monkeys will deflect. They'll immediately switch the topic and suddenly you're the bad guy. Oh, you're the abuser. Oh, you're the crazy one. So this is what they do. They flip the switch. They blame us. And then they turn around, change the topic, and decide that they're going to avoid all accountability. They'll not discuss this with us. They'll either run off, hang up on us, slam the phone on you, or they will have a raging fit. And they will have this meltdown where they freak out, flip out, cuss you out, and basically they verbally beat the shit out of you. So that is really what is going on over here. And so they refuse to take ownership of how psychologically abusive they are. And then, we need to add on to this, there's not just people who are psychologically abusive. There are people who are way beyond just being a bully. There are people with habitual habits of domestic violence. They physically assault people. They harm people. They sexually abuse people. They spiritually abuse people. They financially abuse you. I mean, there's so many variables that fall into this bracket with these toxic people. And the end result is that they're not going to take accountability. They're going to claim that you are the insane person and you're the abuser. How convenient for them. So they're spiteful, they're jealous, they're instigators who love to stir the pot and then sit back and watch things explode. They're unethical, they're control freaks, and they're pathological liars. So these bitter, miserable, vengeful people, they're very low vibrational people who they are basically living by a ginormous ego. So their ego runs the show, and oh, what a show it is. So there's drama, drama, and more drama. Next is a legitimate concern of mine is that they are oblivious to their own conscious reality. It's like they're in the twilight zone. And it gets really, really freaky with these types of people, these sociopathic, narcissistic, very, very mentally unstable people, because we're not dealing with someone with a sound mind. We're not dealing with someone who takes ownership of what they do wrong. We're not taking into account, this isn't someone like you. You have a good conscience. Sometimes you might be even convicted if you did something wrong, if you said something wrong. And that is why you end up saying, I'm sorry and I apologize and please forgive me, etc., etc., because you're a kind-hearted, good-hearted, compassionate person. But that is not who the toxic people are. Do you understand? They don't have empathy. They do not have compassion. And they don't know how to authentically, genuinely love anyone other than themselves. And so we can understand that these people have this inflated ego. They seek to be admired. They want to be treated like a king or a queen. Oftentimes they think they rule everything and everyone, and they don't care about you. So they are fixated on their own needs, their own desires, their own wants, and that's all that matters to them. Next is that the narcissist and the flying monkeys resist credible facts. So regardless that you might explain yourself, you want them to understand you, you might really try to justify yourself and defend yourself, and you might end up in a big conflict with them, which obviously this is very unproductive, people. Please don't fall for this baiting tactic that they use. They want you to have a negative emotional reaction to them. Now, this is really common. This is really normal with these type of sociopathic, narcissistic people. So they want you to fight with them. They love it. Why? Because they get more narcissistic supply. So even the flying monkeys are very much like the narcissist in that they want more narc supply. So it's fuel. It's fuel for the fire. Don't give them the fuel. Don't engage with them. Don't fall for their sly, covert manners. The things that they do, the schemes they play, the tricks they constantly are creating. It's just a big fat mind game, and they love playing with your mind. Next is another common thread with toxic people is that they have no genuine remorse. So regardless that they hurt you, bullied you, maybe they physically assaulted you, maybe they raped you, maybe they gaslighted you, maybe they stole your money from you, maybe it was a cheating spouse, he's a narc and he cheated on you and he had so many affairs, but yet he has no remorse. He doesn't feel guilty at all. And so we can understand that they feel no guilt, and it's like they have no conscience of right and wrong. So the average person like you and I, we know right and wrong. We clearly understand this boundary line. There are no boundaries with toxic people. They don't have boundaries of their own, and they disrespect your healthy boundaries. Next is that this type of person is actually extremely dangerous. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you, but we need to talk about some real truthful things, some things that might be hardcore, but we need to talk about it, people. I oftentimes find myself talking about those hard to talk about subjects, but hey, I am all about truth seeking. I am all about authenticity, honesty, integrity, credibility. And so we must understand that toxic people are very, very destructive in their actions and their words and their behavior. And that is why they are a danger to our society. That means you and me. And so I'm going to give a few examples. Hitler is one example. He was someone who abused his power. He abused his authority. I mean, my goodness, look how many lives he destroyed, how many people he killed. Absolutely despicable behavior. And then we can really start looking at another person who obviously at one time hit the nose. So we're going to talk about the serial killer who was also a sex offender, Jeffrey Dahmer. So Jeffrey Dahmer, we're talking someone who's extremely sociopathic, psychologically deranged. He did not know right from wrong. He had absolutely no guilt, no remorse. He was known as the Milwaukee Monster who was into cannibalism. Sick, 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 demented stuff. And so you get the picture of what I'm talking about. Now, obviously, I'm not suggesting that all toxic people are in that category, like Hitler or Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, what I am suggesting is that on the same token, we don't know what they're capable of. So if you are dealing right now with someone who is the narcissist, it might be your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your grandparents, your ex-husband, your ex-wife, might be one of your partners or an ex-partner. It could be a friend. It could be your coworker. I mean, hey, the list goes on and on, people. The point is this. We don't know what they're capable of. And I could say this, expect the unexpected. I learned through, especially the past 3 years of my life of being no contact with my birth family, that just when you think they did the most foulest, horrendous, horrifying thing to you, they continue to stoop lower and lower and lower. And so nothing surprises you. I'm at a place where nothing ceases to amaze me, to shock me, to surprise me. I receive thousands and thousands of comments on YouTube. A lot of the comments are super kind, super gracious, very supportive, very loving, very kind, uplifting, edifying. So beautiful. And I thank you, people, for your kindness, for your support and your encouragement. But I have to keep it real. As a YouTuber, there are times people write the most hateful, spiteful, malicious, vicious, ugly, hostile words to me or to someone who commented on my YouTube channel. And so I've seen this again and again. And here's all I have to say. Do not engage. Don't put your energy into people who have negative energy. Instead, report them, block them, and carry on. That's what I do. Follow the Jade Method. Remember, we talk about Jade quite often now. Don't justify yourself. Don't argue with them. Don't explain yourself. Don't defend yourself. Don't. Simply report them, block them, and carry on. Focus on the good. Focus on the positive. Focus on what's going right, what's lovely, what's kind, what's gracious, what's beautiful, what's peaceful, what's wonderful in your life. That is what really counts. Next is that these people who don't take responsibility for their abusive actions, words, and behaviors have a Jekyll and Hyde persona. So basically, it's a double personality. It's like they're two different people. I mean, think about it. Jekyll and Hyde is a great description. And so to their friends and to the public, maybe even to their coworkers, just depends on who they are, they will smile and act kind and act gracious and lovely and friendly. And then, oh goodness, they put on this act. Okay, so they're really good. They're really good. They're charming. Oh, they're so charismatic. Oh, they're looking like upholded, wonderful, respectful citizens. Oh, but behind closed doors is a whole other story. It's like night and day. So behind closed doors, they have a sinister nature, evil motives, and they ritually aim to harm you, and especially if you are the scapegoat or the black sheep of the family. So it's very, very common that the black sheep of the family and the scapegoat are going to get the worst of the nasty, ugly behavior. And this is often a common thread also when we're really taking a good deep dive into the psychology of a narcissist, a sociopath, flying monkeys, and anyone who is a very mentally unstable person. But don't be fooled by their clever act. So, there are times you're going to see the mask slip. Oh, when we see the mask slip, Boom, just like that, we see their real traits. We see who they really are. And there are times, I'm going to be real, it is a little bit disturbing and sometimes like, whoa, what's happening here? I thought they were like this really sweet person and now I'm like looking at them and they're like this monster, just this deranged lunatic. And so we could see, whoa, they have a mask and they may not think I could see when it slipped, but boy, oh boy, did I catch that one. And so what happens is these people have a pattern. Watch the patterns. Beware and understand and acknowledge the patterns that you're receiving with them. A lot of things aren't adding up. They could say that they're someone who they're not, but we see otherwise. And so they might be stealing from you, cheating on you, pretending to be someone who they absolutely are not. And so don't fall for their bait. Don't fall for their big tactic and their phoniness. I mean, really, it comes down to they're just fake. They're fake people, and they wouldn't know truth and integrity and credibility if it smacked them up, right up across their face. Nope, they don't get it. They don't see it. They choose to not see it. Do you understand that part of not being responsible and accountable is it's a selective choice? They are actively choosing to not see how spiteful, hateful, rude, inappropriate, psychologically abusive, and violent they are. Because if they did look it right in the face, they would have to take action. They would have to make changes. They're not ever going to change. You can't fix them, and you cannot change anyone who is a narcissist, a flying monkey, a sociopath, or a mentally unstable, toxic person. Next is that watch these patterns. They're going to repeat themselves over and over again. Now, this is another common theme. So as I'm writing my book, Soul Rescue, I'm seeing these patterns. There's a lot of things that are kind of like standing out, and I'm noticing it. And I might have to add a couple more chapters on this exact topic right here. So the point is this: when you notice these patterns, the mask is slipping. You see their ugly side, the hateful, bitter person who they are, the person who has revenge, who retaliates, who creates smear campaigns against you. Do not minimize it. Do not deny it. You are doing yourself a disservice if you continue to say to yourself, but I'm such a good person and I'm going to forgive them and I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Why are you doing that? Why? Why are you not listening to your gut instincts? Do you not understand that you're dealing with someone who is intentionally hurting you? They will continue to ruin and destroy you, your life, your career, your health, your emotional well-being, and your future. It is up to you to really take a good, close look at these patterns and know that it's not your imagination. You're not crazy. You see it, you know it, and it's time for you to accept it, people. It's time for you to take back your power and say, no more. Next, when you're seeing these patterns of abuse, the bullying, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the hoovering, the baiting, and the crazy making three-ring circus, take heed, my friends, and take it serious. If your gut instincts feels like something is off with this person, don't minimize it. Don't dismiss it. Do not deny it, people. Instead, tackle it head on. They are psychologically abusive. And understand this, you don't have to take that anymore. You deserve so much better. You deserve to be treated with kindness, empathy, care, love, respect, and dignity. Next is that if your intuition is saying, I know this person hurts me. I know this person's abusive. I know this person really doesn't love me, and it really does hurt me. And this is what your intuition's telling you, and you're seeing over and over and over again these patterns of really, really malicious behaviors, words and actions. Come to a place where you can trust your gut instinct, know that your intuition does not ever leave you astray. So your intuition basically is part of your boundaries. It's something that's an instinct, and some people listen to it, the little soft voice within them saying, warning, 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 danger, danger. Listen to it. Don't deny it. It's time to amp up your healthy boundaries, because my goodness, you deserve better. Next is that you have options. One option is to go gray rock, which is limiting your contact with these toxic people. Another option is to go full no contact, which means you end the relationship. And remember, it already died. Don't act like you're the one that made it go wrong. You had nothing to do with how the relationship was destructive and abusive. Understand, you don't need to take responsibility for the narcissist and the flying monkeys and the toxic people who hurt you. Only they are responsible and accountable. And so even if they never, ever take accountability or responsibility for their words, actions, and terrible, terrible behaviors, they may take it to the grave. But know this, you keep doing you. You own your truth. You stand in honesty, integrity, truth-telling. This is what really counts. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people do. It only matters what you do. What matters is what's going on in your life. How do you feel about yourself? And another thing we need to talk about, which I never really talked about, is our relationship with ourselves. We need to have a beautiful, wonderful, loving, caring, compassionate relationship with our own selves, because we live with ourselves. We have to look at ourselves every day in the mirror, and we have to stand up for what is right, what is true, what is kind, what is lovely, what is gracious, what is positive. And we need to be there to support our own selves. That's what it's all about. So we not only need to seek support, emotional support with a really trustworthy, compassionate friend, or maybe you have a spouse who's very lovely and kind and gracious to you, but you need to be there for yourself. You need to be there for yourself. Your inner child is knocking on the door. Oh my goodness. Your inner child is saying, I'm here. I need you. I need you to protect me. I need you to rescue me. I need you to speak on behalf of me. I need you to hold me and keep me safe. And so, my friends, listen to that inner child of yours. Listen to that person who used to be, that little boy, that little girl who at one time was so terribly neglected and abused, who is now this grown adult who is still dealing with the aftermath of narcissistic abuse and trauma. That inner child deserves love, gentleness, softness, and they need you to hold that safe space for them, that sacred space, so they can heal. Next is that we have to understand that while we cannot control other people, we can control our own lives. There are plenty of things, how we respond, how we don't respond, how we react, how we choose to not react. And like I said, a lot of times, when it comes to these people who are irresponsible, we disengage. We go no contact. We don't give them any fuel for the fire. Instead, we stand up for ourselves. We start a new life. We rebuild a beautiful new future for ourselves. And this is what it's all about. We're going to end on this note, an inspiring quote by Martin Luther King Jr. Let's get the name straight. Okay, so here we go. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, and light, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. So have you experienced toxic, malicious people such as the narcissists, the flying monkeys. Maybe you have toxic siblings. Maybe there's some sociopath who's been like stalking you. They're cowards. But know this, you can shine the light on darkness. Be the light. Be a loving person. Be a better person, because our world so needs you. Like my video, subscribe to my channel. You could visit me at danaarcuri.com and share with me, have you dealt with these irresponsible people who will never take ownership for how much they've hurt you? Share with me your stories, like my channel, and have a beautiful day. Thank you. God bless.